Chapter 151, The Last Battle. The last battle serves as the ultimate confrontation between Jin-Woo and the final remaining threats. This chapter features a climactic and intense battle, where Jin-Woo faces the most formidable foes of his journey. It showcases the culmination of all his skills, powers, and strategies as he fights to bring about the final resolution to the conflict. The stakes are incredibly high, as Jin-Woo and his allies engage in the last major fight of their epic struggle. Chapter 152, The Future Awaits. With the end of the last battle, the future awaits as Jin-Woo and the world look towards what comes next. This chapter focuses on the aftermath of the conflict, the rebuilding process, and the new opportunities that arise. It highlights the potential for growth and transformation in the post-conflict world and sets the stage for a new era of possibilities. Chapter 153, The End of the Sovereigns. The end of the Sovereigns marks the conclusion of their influence and dominance. This chapter details the final defeat and eradication of the Sovereigns, ensuring that their threat is permanently removed. It explores the impact of their downfall on the world and the resolution of the overarching conflict involving these powerful entities. Chapter 154, Monarch of Destruction. A new threat emerges in the form of the Monarch of Destruction, a powerful adversary with the ability to cause widespread havoc and chaos. This chapter introduces the Monarch's destructive capabilities and the challenge it poses to Jin-Woo and his allies. The conflict with this new monarch adds a final layer of complexity and intensity to the resolution of the story. Chapter 155, Jin-Woo's Final Decision. Jin-Woo faces a final decision that will determine the course of his future and the world's trajectory. This chapter delves into Jin-Woo's internal struggle as he weighs his options and makes a choice that will shape the next chapter of his life and the world. It highlights the significance of this decision and its impact on the resolution of his journey. Chapter 156, The Path of Power. The Path of Power explores Jin-Woo's continued evolution and the development of his abilities and influence. This chapter focuses on how Jin-Woo navigates his new role and the responsibilities that come with it. It showcases his journey towards mastering his powers and using them to guide and protect the world. Chapter 157, The Shadow Army's Legacy. The Shadow Army's legacy is examined as Jin-Woo reflects on the role and contributions of his shadow forces throughout his journey. This chapter explores the impact of the Shadow Army on the conflicts faced and the legacy they leave behind. It highlights their significance and the enduring influence of their role in the resolution of the conflict. Chapter 158, The World Reborn. With the major threats vanquished, the world is reborn into a new era of peace and prosperity. This chapter focuses on the transformation of the world following the resolution of the conflict. It highlights the changes, advancements, and the hopeful future that emerges as a result of Jin-Woo's efforts and the rebuilding process. Chapter 159, Eternal Shadows. The concept of eternal shadows is explored, reflecting on the lasting impact of Jin-Woo's shadow army and the presence of lingering challenges. This chapter delves into the themes of legacy and memory, emphasizing how the shadows continue to play a role in the world even as the major conflicts are resolved. Chapter 160, The Return of the Hero. The Return of the Hero marks a significant moment as Jin-Woo reclaims his role as a central figure in the world. This chapter showcases his return to prominence, whether through a new role, leadership, or a return to a more active position. It highlights the culmination of his journey and the beginning of a new chapter in his life and the world's history. Chapter 161, The Final Chapter Begins. The Final Chapter Begins sets the stage for the concluding events of Jin-Woo's journey. This chapter introduces the final arc of the story, preparing readers for the climax and resolution of the epic saga. It recaps the major plot points leading up to this moment and sets up the last set of challenges Jin-Woo and his allies will face. Chapter 162, Awakening of the Heroes. The awakening of the heroes occurs as past heroes and key figures from earlier in the story re-emerge with renewed strength or purpose. This chapter explores their return and the impact they have on the current conflict. Their reawakening adds depth to the final battle and provides valuable support for Jin-Woo as he approaches the ultimate confrontation. Chapter 163, The Shadow Sovereign's Triumph. The Shadow Sovereign's Triumph highlights a significant victory for the Shadow Sovereign and its army. This chapter details a pivotal moment where the Shadow Sovereign achieves a major success, shifting the balance of power in Jin-Woo's favor. It showcases the effectiveness and strategic importance of the Shadow forces in the final stages of the conflict. Chapter 164, Journey into Eternity. Jin-Woo embarks on a journey into eternity, exploring new realms or dimensions, as he seeks to understand or confront the remaining challenges. This chapter delves into the mystical or existential aspects of the journey, emphasizing the depth and complexity of Jin-Woo's quest. It provides a deeper look into the overarching themes of destiny and legacy. Chapter 165, The Last Gate Reopens. The Last Gate reopens, marking the reactivation of a crucial gateway or portal that holds significant importance in the story. This chapter explores the implications of the gate's reopening, including its impact on the current situation and the opportunities or threats it presents. It sets the stage for a major development in the final conflict. Chapter 166, Clash of the Monarchs. A clash of the monarchs takes center stage as the remaining monarchs engage in a decisive battle. This chapter focuses on the intense combat between the monarchs and the strategies employed by both sides. The clash represents a critical turning point in the conflict, with significant consequences for the outcome of the story. Chapter 167, The Last Sovereign's Defeat. The Last Sovereign's defeat marks the end of the remaining sovereign threats. This chapter details the final battle against the last sovereign, showcasing Jin-Woo's ultimate confrontation and the resolution of this major antagonist. The defeat of the last sovereign signifies the conclusion of the major conflicts and the resolution of the overarching story. Chapter 168, Shadows of the Past. Shadows of the past reflect on the history and legacy of the shadows and characters who have played significant roles throughout the story. This chapter provides a reflective look at the events and figures that have shaped Jin-Woo's journey. It highlights the connections between past and present, offering insights into the broader narrative. Chapter 169, A New Hope. A new hope emerges as Jin-Woo and the world look towards the future with optimism and potential. This chapter emphasizes the positive changes and opportunities that arise from the resolution of the conflict. It highlights the hope for a better future and the possibilities that lie ahead for Jin-Woo and the world. Chapter 170, Jin-Woo's Victory. Jin-Woo's victory serves as the culmination of the story, showcasing Jin-Woo's ultimate triumph over his adversaries. This chapter provides a comprehensive resolution to the conflicts and challenges faced throughout the series. It celebrates Jin-Woo's achievements and concludes the epic journey with a sense of accomplishment and closure. Chapter 171, The End of the World. The end of the world marks a dramatic shift as the world faces unprecedented destruction or upheaval. This chapter details the catastrophic events or significant changes that threaten to reshape the world fundamentally. It sets up the dire circumstances that Jin-Woo and his allies must confront as they work to prevent or mitigate the end of their world. Chapter 172, Rise of the Rulers. The Rise of the Rulers introduces the resurgence of powerful rulers who seek to reclaim their influence and control. This chapter explores the reawakening or emergence of these rulers, their motivations, and the impact of their return on the current state of the world. It sets the stage for a new set of challenges and conflicts as these rulers attempt to assert their dominance. Chapter 173, The Final Battle Approaches. As the story nears its climax, the final battle approaches, bringing the characters to the brink of the ultimate confrontation. This chapter builds anticipation and tension as the preparations for the final showdown are underway. It details the strategies, alliances, and stakes involved as Jin-Woo and his allies gear up for the decisive battle. Chapter 174, Jin-Woo's Legacy Continues. Jin-Woo's legacy continues highlights the ongoing impact of Jin-Woo's actions and achievements. This chapter explores how Jin-Woo's legacy influences the world and the characters around him. Even as the final battle looms, It emphasizes the enduring nature of his contributions and the way they shape the future. Chapter 175, Rebirth of the World. Rebirth of the world signifies a transformative phase where the world undergoes significant changes or renewal. This chapter delves into the processes of rebuilding, reorganization, and the emergence of a new order following the recent conflicts. It showcases the potential for a fresh start and the opportunities for growth and development. Chapter 176, The End of the Monarchs. The end of the Monarchs marks the definitive conclusion of the monarch's reign and influence. This chapter focuses on the final efforts to defeat or neutralize the monarchs, ensuring that their threat is fully eradicated. It provides closure to the conflict involving the monarchs and highlights the resolution of this major storyline. Chapter 177, Return to the Shadows. With the major conflicts resolved, Jin-Woo experiences a return to the shadows, symbolizing a transition back to a quieter or more reflective role. This chapter explores Jin-Woo's adjustment to his new status and the reasons behind his choice to step away from the forefront. It highlights his personal journey and the changes in his role. Chapter 178, The True Monarch Emerges. The True Monarch Emerges introduces a new and potentially overwhelming threat as the true monarch reveals itself. This chapter details the nature of this monarch, its powers, and its impact on the current situation. The emergence of this true monarch adds a new layer of complexity and danger to the ongoing narrative. Chapter 179, The Last Stand. In The Last Stand, Jin-Woo and his allies face their final and most critical battle. This chapter captures the intensity and desperation of the last confrontation against the ultimate adversaries. It showcases the strategies, sacrifices, and pivotal moments that define this crucial battle, leading to a resolution of the central conflict. Chapter 180, The Shadow Army's Final Battle. The Shadow Army's final battle focuses on the ultimate conflict involving Jin-Woo's shadow forces. This chapter details the final stand of the Shadow Army, their role in the last confrontation, and the culmination of their efforts. It emphasizes the significance of the Shadow Army's contributions and the resolution of their storyline. Chapter 181, End of the Era. End of the Era marks the conclusion of a significant period in the story, signifying the end of the major conflicts and the transition to a new phase. This chapter reflects on the changes and developments that have led to this point, providing closure to the previous era and setting up the foundation for the future. It emphasizes the completion of the long-standing struggles and the impact on the characters and the world. Chapter 182, Rise of the New World. The Rise of the New World focuses on the emergence of a new order or structure following the resolution of past conflicts. This chapter explores the transformations and advancements that characterize the new world. It highlights the opportunities and challenges faced as society rebuilds and evolves into this new phase, showcasing the positive changes and new beginnings. Chapter 183, The Shadow Sovereign's Legacy. The Shadow Sovereign's Legacy delves into the lasting impact of the Shadow Sovereign's actions and influence. This chapter explores how the legacy of the Shadow Sovereign continues to affect the world and the characters. It highlights the enduring contributions of the Shadow Sovereign and the ways in which its legacy shapes the future. Chapter 184, Final Farewell to the Monarchs. In Final Farewell to the Monarchs, Jin-Woo and his allies bid a symbolic and emotional farewell to the defeated monarchs. This chapter reflects on the significance of the monarchs and their role in the story. It provides closure to their storyline and emphasizes the resolution of their influence and impact. Chapter 185, Rebirth of the World. Rebirth of the World revisits the theme of transformation as the world undergoes further changes and renewal. This chapter focuses on the ongoing processes of rebuilding and reorganization, highlighting the progress made and the potential for continued growth. It emphasizes the positive developments and the evolution of the world after the major conflicts. Chapter 186, Jin-Woo's Journey Continues. Jin-Woo's journey continues explores the next chapter of Jin-Woo's life and his ongoing adventures. This chapter delves into his personal growth, new challenges, and the paths he chooses to pursue. It showcases Jin-Woo's evolution beyond the central conflicts and his continued journey in the world. Chapter 187, The New World Awaits. The New World Awaits focuses on the anticipation and excitement surrounding the future of the world. This chapter highlights the opportunities and possibilities that lie ahead as characters look forward to a new era. It emphasizes the sense of hope and optimism for the future, setting the stage for new developments and adventures. Chapter 188, Last Clash of the Sovereigns. The Last Clash of the Sovereigns features the final confrontation with any remaining sovereigns or significant adversaries. This chapter details the decisive battle against the last of the sovereigns, emphasizing the final efforts to resolve this last major conflict. It captures the intensity and resolution of the final clashes. Chapter 189, The End of the Shadow Army. The end of the Shadow Army marks the conclusion of the Shadow Force's involvement in the story. This chapter explores the final moments and fate of the Shadow Army, providing closure to their role in the narrative. It highlights the significance of their contributions and the impact of their final actions. Chapter 190, Jin-Woo's Final Choice. Jin-Woo's final choice presents a crucial decision that Jin-Woo must make, shaping the direction of his future and the world's destiny. This chapter explores the weight of this choice, the factors influencing his decision, and the consequences of his final resolution. It emphasizes the personal and overarching significance of Jin-Woo's ultimate decision. Chapter 191, A New Beginning. A New Beginning ushers in a fresh start for the world following the resolution of the central conflicts. This chapter explores the emerging opportunities, changes, and possibilities as characters and society adapt to the new era. It emphasizes the optimism and potential for growth as the story transitions into this new phase. Chapter 192, The World Reborn. The World Reborn delves into the extensive transformations and rebirth of the world after the major conflicts. This chapter highlights the rebuilding process, the advancements made, and the emergence of a renewed world order. It captures the progress and revitalization that signify a new chapter in the world's history. Chapter 193, The Shadow King's Return. The Shadow King's Return introduces the reappearance of a powerful figure from Jin-Woo's past. This chapter explores the significance of the Shadow King's return, its impact on the current state of affairs, and the role it plays in the evolving narrative. It highlights the complexities and dynamics of this new development. Chapter 194, The Final Awakening. The Final Awakening focuses on the culmination of Jin-Woo's journey and his ultimate realization or transformation. This chapter delves into the final stages of Jin-Woo's evolution, showcasing his complete awakening to his true potential or purpose. It emphasizes the significance of this final transformation in the context of the story. Chapter 195, Jin-Woo's Legacy Lives On. Jin-Woo's legacy lives on explores the ongoing influence and impact of Jin-Woo's actions and achievements. This chapter reflects on how his legacy continues to shape the world and inspire others. It highlights the lasting effects of his journey and the way his contributions are remembered and honored. Chapter 196, Return to the Shadows. Return to the Shadows sees Jin-Woo making a symbolic or literal return to his earlier role in the shadows. This chapter examines the reasons behind this decision, the transition back to a more subdued existence, and the implications for Jin-Woo and the world. It explores the themes of legacy, reflection, and personal choice. Chapter 197, End of the Journey. End of the Journey marks the conclusion of Jin-Woo's epic saga. This chapter provides a reflective look back at the entirety of Jin-Woo's journey, from its beginning to its final resolution. It highlights the closure of key storylines and the overall sense of completion and accomplishment. Chapter 198, The New Sovereign. The New Sovereign introduces a new powerful figure or entity that rises to prominence in the aftermath of the previous conflicts. This chapter explores the role and influence of this new sovereign, its impact on the world, and the dynamics of its rise. It sets up new challenges or opportunities in the evolving world. Chapter 199, Last Stand of the Monarchs. The Last Stand of the Monarchs details the final efforts or confrontations involving the remaining monarchs. This chapter captures the intensity and significance of these last battles, providing closure to the monarch's storyline. It emphasizes the resolution of their influence and the final moments of their reign. Chapter 200, Epilogue Jin-Woo's Peace. Epilogue Jin-Woo's Peace serves as a concluding reflection on Jin-Woo's journey and the state of the world after the conflicts. This chapter focuses on Jin-Woo's peaceful resolution, the tranquility he finds, and the final sentiments of the story. It provides a sense of closure and a glimpse into the future, celebrating Jin-Woo's legacy and the new era that follows.